Oh. This is 5 on 20 News with Pedro Santa Cruz.
And the Real Rich Gary, coming to you live from our studio in downtown Tucson. It is Tuesday, December 12th. Let's talk local headlines.
The Salvation Army has launched Operation Deep Freeze in Tucson, which is a program that provides shelter for the homeless when the temperature drops below 35 degrees or 40 degrees with precipitation. The program goes from now until March 30th at the Salvation Army Tucson Hospitality House. Donations such as coats, socks, sweaters, hats, shoes, and gloves are needed for the program and will be accepted at Vantage Bowling Centers. Former news anchor Charlie Rose, who is facing accusations for sexual harassment and non-consensual nakedness, voiced his support for the Salvation Army clothing drive, saying, "I've been getting rid of my clothes for years. It's time for everyone else to join me." Ooh, gross. And just a word to the wise folks, don't attempt to donate used or soiled underwear. Believe me, I already tried.
It's too bad that Salvation Army got endorsed by him. That's not good. Arizona State Senator Steve Montenegro announced that he will seek the vacant seat formerly occupied by Representative Trent Franks, who resigned last week for inappropriate behavior. Franks is alleged to have offered a female aide of $5 million to act as a surrogate for he and his wife several times. Montenegro made the announcement in a video on Monday, where he said that servicing the people in the 8th Congressional District will allow us to fight for everything that matters. Governor Doug Ducey announced Monday that the special primary election for the empty seat will be held on February 27th, with a general election on April 24th. The Republican Montenegro was elected to state Senate just this year after serving as an Arizona representative. He is originally from El Salvador and moved to Arizona when he was 4 years old. Also announcing their candidacy is State Senator Debbie Lesko and Kimberly Yee. Arizona Corporation Commissioner Bob Stump, Maricopa County Supervisor Clint Hickman, former state legislator Phil Lovis also might be throwing his hat into the ring as he resigned from his job with the Small Business Administration on Monday. For the upcoming race, Montenegro was supported by Franks, along with disgraced former Sheriff Joe Arpaio. You might remember that Arpaio was pardoned earlier this year before having to serve a 6-month jail sentence for disobeying a court order. So obviously the group you want backing you. On Tuesday, Montenegro also picked up the support of Roy Moore, Blake Farenthold, and Byron Looper, a Republican lawmaker who murdered his opponent in 1998 and is now serving a life sentence. That creepy dude in the park who always asks you for the time is reportedly mulling his support for Montenegro, but is holding off on making a full declaration.
The U.S. Chamber of Commerce reported that Arizona stands to lose 235,000 jobs if the North American Free Trade Agreement, or NAFTA, falls apart. John Murphy, one of the authors of the Chamber's report, said that Arizona, like other border states we found, is particularly vulnerable from the disruption that would come from the withdrawing of NAFTA. Murphy said that 47% of Arizona's exports go to Canada and Mexico, which translates to $10 billion per year. NAFTA was signed under the Clinton administration and sought to make it easier for Canada, the U.S., and Mexico to trade. Critics say that the deal favors lower-cost labor in Mexico at the expense of American workers. But supporters say that lower prices in the U.S. and the jobs gained from importing make up for the losses and ultimately make all three economies stronger. On the campaign, the president vowed to end NAFTA, which he called a disaster. Since taking office, Trump had hedged on whether he will actively seek to end the agreement, but the subject has come up. If the U.S. tears up the agreement or ends up just keeping Canada on board, Mexico said that it has 47 trade agreements already in place with other countries. In response, Trump said that he had 48 trade agreements with better, less loserish countries.
And so Trump. Arizona Senator John McCain and Jeff Flake introduced a bill to allocate Colorado River water to the Hualapai tribe in northern Arizona. The bill would also pay for the construction of a water pipeline to deliver the water. If passed, the bill would end a decades-long dispute between the tribe's people and the state government. The tribe owns and operates Grand Canyon West, which is home to the Skywalk, the glass bridge that overlooks the canyon, But the area's future is unclear because of the limited water supplies. In 2016, Arizona and the Halapai tribe struck an agreement that would provide the tribe with 4,000 acre feet of water per year from the Colorado River. McCain and Flake's bill would ratify the agreement and provide the $170 million in federal funds to build the 70-mile pipeline. If the bill fails, the tribe will try again, except this time they'll suggest it begin an oil pipeline, which will immediately be approved.
I think that would work a lot better, make the process quicker.
Yeah, always get approved.
Cases of the flu spiked in Pima County, with over 150 people confirmed with the virus since flu season began in October. In comparison, the past 3 flu seasons had 24, 20, and 50 cases of the virus at this point in the year. However, County Health Department Deputy Director Paula Mandel said that a strong beginning of season doesn't mean that the virus is stronger. She said that each season is different, and some start early. And it's not just Pima County that's catching flu fever. State health officials say that over 1,000 cases have been reported throughout the state. Mandel encourages everyone in the state to get a flu shot, and that it's not too late in the season. Otherwise, she says to wash your hands regularly, and in general, don't be, quote, gross. Meanwhile, Arizona lawmaker and amateur conspiracy theorist Paul Gosar said that Mandel is simply a tool of the Illuminati, seeking mind control to further her globalist agenda, and that he will refuse to wash his hands for the rest of the year. What do they mean by washing hands?
The Southern Poverty Law Center is suing the federal government over what they claim are unconstitutional raids of homes and immigrant families. In the lawsuit, the civil rights group alleges that ICE officials entered the homes of immigrant families without warrants, consent, or probable cause, which would violate the Fourth Amendment. ICE officials raided the homeless solely to detain and deport families, mostly women and children, according to the lawsuit. SPLC brought the suit on behalf of three families caught in a targeted sweep of immigrants from El Salvador, Honduras, and Guatemala in January of 2016. At the same time, agents claimed to be police searching for criminal suspects. In 2 other raids, ICE agents allegedly showed the residents a photo of an African-American man they claimed to be looking for. But once inside, the officers revealed that they were actually ICE agents. The lawsuit claims that this was the worst ending of a Scooby-Doo imaginable.
Over 50 female Democratic lawmakers in the House called for a congressional investigation into sexual harassment and assault allegations against the president. In a letter sent to the Oversight and Government Reform Committee, the group said that we cannot ignore the multitude of women who have come forward with accusations against Mr. Trump. However, a formal inquiry is unlikely with Republicans running the House and Senate. Trump has denied the allegations, but was caught on tape earlier this summer bragging about his sexual escapades. Over the past 2 years, over a dozen women have accused Trump of making unwanted sexual advances against them in the years before he entered politics. 3 of his accusers, Jessica Leeds, Rachel Crooks, and Samantha Holvey, said on Monday that the accusations warranted new consideration given the recent discussion of sexual harassment in U.S. society. Crooks said that Congress should put aside party affiliations and investigate Mr. Trump's history of sexual misconduct. This marks yet another historic moment in a presidency filled with them, as Trump becomes the first president with a personal Me Too following.
Earlier today, the president signed a $700 billion annual defense policy known as the National Defense Authorization Act, or NDAA. The legislation allows the military to add troops, ships, planes, and other equipment, which he touted as a promise to build up the military because it wasn't big enough already. The NDAA sailed through Congress last month with both sides of the political aisle largely supporting the bill. It authorizes about $626 billion for the base defense budget and $65 billion for a war fund known as Overseas Contingency Operations. The money would activate 7,500 active duty soldiers to the Army, 4,000 active duty Navy soldiers, 1,000 active duty Marines, and over 4,000 active duty airmen. It would also allow for a 2.4% raise in troops. The NDAA also would allocate $1.2 billion to send 3,500 more troops to Afghanistan. The NDAA exceeds budget caps by more than $80 billion, which would be a problem if the money were used for education or even worse, feeding people. But if we're blowing people up, Congress says go on ahead.
Food is expensive. Airlines earned $1.2 billion in baggage fees over a 3-month period, according to a report by the Department of Transportation. This marked a 10% increase from last year. The report states that baggage fees made up almost 3% of total operating revenue during the third quarter of this year. Airlines also collected another $720 million reservation change and cancellation fees during the same period. The report comes days after the agency announced that it was scrapping 2 Obama-era rules that would bring more transparency to airline ticket prices. One of the proposed rules would have required airlines and ticket agencies to disclose baggage fees as soon as passengers start the booking process. The other rule would have forced air carriers to disclose to the department how much they receive for optional services like carry-on baggage charges. Speaking of which, Delta Airlines announced that they will begin charging for checked baggage for overseas flights to Europe and North Africa. The new pricing structure is $60 for the first checked bag and $100 for the second checked bag, and applies to all flights that take off after April 10th. Delta urges all customers not to worry though, because services such as damaging your luggage, sending it to the wrong destination, or losing your luggage altogether will remain complimentary.
Yom Tov. Tonight marks the start of Hanukkah. Hanukkah?
Hanukkah.
Hanukkah? Tonight marks the start of Hanukkah, which runs until next Wednesday. The holiday commemorates the Jewish Maccabean revolt over the Seleucid Greek Empire and is celebrated by kindling festive lights on a Hanukkah menorah and by eating oily and fried foods such as fried potato pancakes, which are called latkes, and donuts, which are called sefkiot. I just never saw Hanukkah spelled like that, okay? I thought it was with an H. So if you want to celebrate this year, make sure you get your grease on. Happy Hanukkah, everyone, with a CH.
I have some grease on my forehead, I think.
Oh.
And I wanted to take a moment to talk about the program you're watching right now. Here at 5 on 20, we are undertaking a new kind of citizen journalism. We're going to give you the news as we see it. And we want more people to speak up with us. We need writers, hosts, anchors, camera people, sound people, the whole gamut. The times require a new way of informing ourselves. So join us. Do it. Do it now. Email us at info@creativetucson.org to get involved. And if you think there's a story we're missing, a person we should interview, an upcoming event we should cover, or have any news tips for us, shoot an email to info@creativetucson.org. We are here for you, and we want to cover all stories from all points of view. So don't be strangers.
Wait, what was that? It was creativetucson.org? Oh, I think I'll get involved.
You should become an anchor.
Oh,
You could read the news.
You think I could read the news?
Yeah, I think you could do it. I believe in you.
Well, this was 5 on 20 News. My name is The Real Rich Gary. Thank you for tuning in.
And I'm Pedro Santa Cruz. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to all our social media accounts for all the latest Creative Tucson news.
Subscribe to our
and
YouTube
content.
channel.
Feel free to bother us at info@creativetucson.org.
info@creativetucson.org.
Bother you, you say? Can I come out here and bother you fine young lads right now? Why, it's me, your good friend Scrooge. How are you doing, lads? Did you hear what's going on here at Creative Tucson on Christmas?
Scrooge again.
I know! Can you believe it? That's right. This week or next, I believe, what is it? Christmas? Yes, the 24th this year and the 25th. Creative Tucson is going to be putting on an extra special Christmas special, a 24.5-hour Christmas special, boys. Are you excited? Are you jolly? Oh, I'm sorry, my cane, I think, hit your spine there. Let me check
It's
that
okay.
vertebrae out for you.
It's actually Hanukkah tonight, sir.
Oh, what a
I
joyous
think you should
time.
know.
I think that the timing for this is then maybe not the best, but please, happy, did you say it was Chanukah you said this year?
No, Hanukkah.
Oh, this year it is Hanukkah again. Happy
it just
Hanukkah.
it looks like it's Chanukah.
Oh, they're spelling it funny this time around. It's 2017. We like to do things on fun, keep it on fleek, all that sort of stuff. Maybe it's an app for Hanukkah. You know how they do that sort of thing.
At
But
Hanukkah.
join us on Channel 20, Christmas Eve and Christmas Day for the Tucson 24.5-hour Creative Tucson Christmas Special, Extra Special. I'm excited.
Yeah.
I'm excited, boys.
Oh.
I can't wait. Off I go. Sugar plums.
See ya, Scrooge.
I'm so excited.
There goes, everyone.
Thanks for watching. Stay creative, Tucson.